Baizhu, the owner of the Boo Pharmacy and the charismatic herbalist from Liyue. Baizhu is the first character we see with the Dendro vision, and we find out that he is a master herbalist with loads of knowledge on the subject. We don't really know much about him other than his medicine tastes bitter, he takes care of the zombie Chi-Chi, he is looking for eternal life, he has a deadly ailment that he has been unable to cure, resulting in a weak in physical appearance, and the fact he has a snake named Chang Sheng. Those are the main aspects we know about him. There are a few other minor notes to take, but those are by far the most important. It's the mystery of Baizhu that makes me truly wonder who he is. And today, I have a theory of who I think this individual could be. Note that this speculation may be a bit of a stretch, so I don't think it's entirely true. However, I think there is evidence that shouldn't go unturned. With that said, who do I think Baizhu is? Well, to be honest, I think there is a chance that he could be the God of Woods, or the previous Dendro Archon. I know, this seems like a stretch, but hear me out. Let's unravel the Tevotchnary and see what we can find out. First and foremost, let's take a look at the most compelling pieces of evidence, being Baizhu's knowledge of plants and herbs. Baizhu, like I mentioned, is a master herbalist with a huge pull of knowledge towards the subject. In fact, I actually think it's unnatural for anyone to know that much. It seems like a god level of knowledge to have, similar of Zhang Li's knowledge of rocks. Baizhu has a reputation of making a lot of people feel better with his herbs. According to Keqing, she considers him the right person to visit if you don't know what's wrong with you. Baizhu can pretty much cure almost anything, but there's one thing he cannot cure, and that is the ailment that has been placed on him. Due to this ailment, his body is physically weak. Using his knowledge of the herbs, I believe he has been able to keep himself alive. I believe he is also a lot older than he is leading on, and is on a quest to gain immortality. The question is though, how did he get this ailment? Well, we obviously know the cataclysm that happened 500 years ago involving the destruction of Conria. The only real notable fatality that happened was the death of the Dendro Archon. I don't think it was a death though. The physical ailment placed upon Baizhu was like his death, and he must have done something to betray Celestia, and therefore his powers got taken away. We know that the Gnosis are the main powers an Archon has, as explained with Venti and Zhang Li, but they are still alive. However, the previous Dendro Archon is a little different due to the fact a new Archon took their place, being the God of Wisdom. Okay, Tave, your point? Baizhu and his snake Chang Sheng seem to have taken inspiration from the legend of the White Snake legend in China. In that legend, it explains that a young man named Zhu Zhan and a white snake spirit, Bai Shuzhen, fall in love with each other. The entire premise is that Zhu Zhan and the white snake have an eternal love for each other, and even bear a child in the end. In an alternate version of the story, it mentions that Zhu Zhan and Bai Shuzhen originally were immortals, Zhu Zhan being the Dendro Archon, and Bai Shuzhen perhaps being a god of snakes. The heavens, or Celestia, essentially rejected the idea of their love, and therefore were banished, and reincarnated as a male and female, the male being Baizhu, and the female being Chang Sheng. Baizhu, being a previous Archon, lost his powers and his immortality, but Chang Sheng kept hers due to finding immortality pills, at least according to the legend of the White Snake. Using her powers, or Baizhu's vast knowledge of plants, plus Chang Sheng's ability to disguise herself and perhaps Baizhu as well, Baizhu has the desire to stay alive, so he and Chang Sheng's love can be eternal. Using these powers and knowledge keeps their lives a secret, while also giving Baizhu the ability to look for immortality. Chang Sheng's name in Chinese also translates to a long life, and white snakes in Chinese culture also symbolize love, purity, positivity, and new beginnings. The immortality pills, however, have a drawback. They only worked for 500 years according to the legend. Perhaps Chang Sheng had powers that helped Baizhu stay alive for a long while, and now they are both struggling to find eternal life again. The 500 years is also the time when the supposed God of Woods perished, so this time frame makes sense. Or another alternative route could be that the God of Woods did actually die in the conflict of Conria, and Chang Sheng revived him with some special revival herbs. In the legend, it does mention Bai Shuzhen reviving Zhu Zhan, due to him having a heart attack, finding out Bai Shuzhen was a snake. The same death aspect didn't happen with the Dendro Archon, but the idea of him being revived has correlation to the legend. They are in love after all. Chang Shang could have given him a revival herb, but now after a period of time, its effects are wearing off, and that's why Baizhu is in the state he's in. To further back up the claim that he is the Archon, let's take a look at the Bubu Pharmacy itself. On the walls, we can see paintings of beautiful flowers, further insinuating his love for plants. One of Sumeru's biggest delicacies is also snake wine. Having a snake colleague could be a representation of that. The previous Archon's title was the God of Woods, the Chinese equivalent for the term woods in their title, or plants, which uses the characters for grass and tree, wood. However, the Chinese term for dendro is simply grass. All in all, Baiju's unnatural knowledge of plants and the way he has an incurable physical ailment on his body is weird to me. There's some sort of hidden meaning behind how he got that. It almost seems like it's a curse or some kind of punishment inflicted on him, like I mentioned earlier. Well, that wraps up my little theory on Baizhu. I'm sure you guys are going to think it's crazy, but hey, you know what? It's my video, and I have a pretty crazy imagination. So you're going to have to get used to it if you're going to be on this channel for a long while. Anywho though, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Overall, Baizhu has some kind of secret he is hiding, and if it's anything based on the legend of the White Snake, we know he and Chang Shang have some sort of beautiful love going on. Anyways, thanks for opening the Tevachinary. And with that said, I will see you next time for some more Genshin Impact content.